Hello guys, welcome back to my last arc, and I hope you enjoy the videos here. And as you are watching, please don't forget to like and comment for more things that you want me to do here. So I've made a video now on what can I call this, preparation for the term test. So as most returns are going to be writing a term test now, not most, as returns are going to write the term test, they need something to practice with. So if ever I was to set the test, some things like this that would appear on the test, right? So I want to keep this video long. I'm left with 45 minutes. In fact, I'm left with 40 minutes before load shedding kicks in. So I have to keep this video as short as possible, and that will challenge me now to make my videos shorter. So there won't be a lot of explanation here, because most of the in fact all of the concepts that are here in this video whereby I'm solving these questions, they've been explained in detail in the channel. So if you're struggling with anything, simultaneous equations, please go into the channel and view those videos. Okay, so let's start with this one. Let's start. If I can answer this question paper under 30 minutes, of course I would expect you guys to do it like maybe under an hour, but if I can do this under 30 minutes, I would be very happy. Okay, so let's see. State within which integers does root 33 lie between. So root 33 is found between the following perfect squares. It's found between below the perfect square of 36, and is found above the perfect square of 25, right? Therefore, the root of 33 is found between 6 and 5. So there are your 2 marks, guys. There it goes. This question would usually be 2 marks. They'd expect you to answer it in 2 minutes, but you can do it in less. So moving on to the next one. Let's save. Perfect. I don't want my thing to crash again. So now here we have to factorize fully. So now whenever you see a question, we won't tell you what type of factorization are you supposed to use. Let me put this on silent. Why do I keep on forgetting? So every time you get a factorization question, we won't ask you what type of factorization you should use. You are supposed to know which method of factorization works. So now whenever we have y squared into b minus a plus 81 into a minus b, this looks like grouping of terms. However, the brackets are not the same, so we have to make them the same. So I can take out a common factor, which is negative. So which means my y squared is now negative. My a will now be positive. My b will be negative, right? Plus 81 into a minus b. Now I have the same brackets. And then I will take these terms now. These terms that are outside the bracket, I will group them in one bracket. So I have 81 minus y squared, right? And then brackets that are the same, I'll represent them with one bracket. And I have a minus b. So there's your 2 marks. This is where your 2 marks will go. And then b, let's do b. Here at b, we have obviously the difference of 2 cubes, right? So I open 2 brackets, one smaller and one for a trinomial. If my question now, it has a negative here, it means my bracket will have a negative. What makes 27 a perfect cube? It's 3. What makes y cubed the perfect cube? Is y. And then if I take 27 y cubed divided by this, I'll be left with 9 y squared. And then I focus on the 125. What makes 125 a perfect cube? It's 5. And then 125 divided by 5, that is 25. And this term, it's always positive. And the middle term, it's the opposite sign of this bracket. So this is positive. Then I multiply 3y with 5. I get how much? I get 15y. So factorized. Another 2 marks in the bag for you there. So this is the answer. These are the answers. Let's move to question 3. Let me clear the board. So the board is clear. Now for question C, what happens then? Is that a binomial? No. So it's not difference of two squares. What is it? Is it a polynomial? What type of factorization has a polynomial? Grouping of terms. So which means from the first term here and the second one, I can take out a common factor of m. I take out m as a common factor. I'm left with 1 minus x, right? And then here on the last two terms, I can take out a common factor of y. Oh, sorry. I have to make this a binomial. So I'm saying plus, I take out a common factor of what? Of y, right? The remainder here, if I take out 1 from that y, I'm left with 1. And then if I take out y here, I'm left with negative x, right? And then the two brackets are the same, which basically solves itself. The terms that are outside, I group them together in one bracket. So it's m plus y into 1 minus x. So there goes another 2 marks for you, right? So far we've collected what? 6 marks under 6 minutes. Perfect. Okay, now D, it says x squared plus 8x plus 15. Factorize that. What type of factorization? We have difference of, no. We have quadrinomial there. Quadratic trinomial. So since everything is positive, it means all my brackets will be positive. Guys, remember, you have to know how to factorize. If you cannot factorize, you cannot win in this grade. Factors of x squared, it's x and x. Factors of 15, that give me 8, that is 3 and 5. So your 2 marks, there you go. When it comes to questions of factorization, guys, if the maximum time is 8 minutes, I expect you to thrash all of them in under 5 minutes. 5 minutes or less. That's what I'm expecting from you. Okay, let's move on, guys. Next one. So here, now this is the monster of the term 1. Let's say this is the monster of term 1 because there are a lot of concepts to consider here, and then we're going to clear the board a lot. So what can I do then? So on the numerator, I have nothing that I can do, so this stays like that. Plus, then what can I do there? So I realize that now here I have more or less like a binomial for an exponent. So I'm going to separate that. I'll have 3 raised to x multiplied by 3 raised to negative 2. All set? Great. So and then on the denominator now, I have what? I have 5 multiplied by. Another thing that I'm realizing is that I have a binomial exponent. So I'm going to separate those. Oh, sorry. This is supposed to be 3. Sorry. Let me fix this. This is supposed to be 3 as communicated in class. Perfect. Now it will work. And then so I have a binomial exponent. So what happens there? I have 3 raised to x multiplied by 3 raised to 1. I'm basically separating them because if I'm multiplying this with this, I'm going to get this, right? When I multiply parts with the same base, I add the exponents. Okay, let's move on to save time. Minus 7 multiplied by, I have another binomial exponent. I separate those. So I'll end up with 3 raised to x multiplied by 3 raised to negative 1. Let me write that properly. 3 raised to x multiplied by 3 raised to negative 1. Hope it's much better now. And then I focus on taking out the common factor. What is the common factor for me there? I have 3 raised to x on the numerator as a common factor. From this part, if I remove 3 raised to x, I'm left with 2. Plus, from this part, if I remove 3 raised to x, I'm left with 3 raised to negative 2. All over, then I go to the denominator. From this part, if I remove 3 raised to x, what am I left with? I take out 3 raised to x as a common factor. I'll be left with 5 multiplied by 3 raised to 1. Then there is this minus. If I remove the 3 raised to x in this term, I'll be left with the 7 and the 3 raised to negative 1. So it's 7 multiplied by 3 raised to negative 1. Right there. Right, and then from there, I can safely say now the 3 raised to x cancels with the 3 raised to x. And then on the numerator, what am I left with? I'm left with 2 plus 1 over 3 raised to 2. And on the denominator, I'm left with what? 5 times 3, how much is that? That is 15 minus 7 multiplied by 1 over 3. 7 multiplied by 1 over 3. That is what I have. Let me clear some space there so that I can work. There we go. I've cleared my space, and then this is the last step that was there before I erased here. Now, is there a chance that I would have made a mistake in this question? No doubt, there is a chance that I could have made a mistake. But then that is not a problem. If you make a mistake once, you get penalized once. So which means if you are supposed to get 5 marks, you'll get 4. Just continue with your normal steps and follow all the maths procedures. Now, this now is the same as 2 plus 1 over 9, right? All over 15 minus, what is 7 multiplied by 1 over 3? 7 over 3, right? So let's remove that. Let's remove that. What do I have now? I have to keep on solving. It's a lot of work, isn't it? So for the numerator now, what do I have? I have 2 with 1 over 9 all over. And here I have 15 minus 7 over 3. I have to express 15 in terms of 3. So I'll have 15 over 1 minus 7 over 3. Right. So if I have to get a denominator of 3 here, I'll do what? I'll multiply this part by 3 over 3. Right. And then I'll end up with what? Here I still have, okay, let me write this as an improper fraction. 2 times 9, it's 18. 18 plus 1, it's 19. So it's 19 over 9. And this is all over 45, because 3 times 15 is 45 over 3 minus 7 over 3, right? This is what I have so far. This is what I have. We keep on flowing. So now I have 19 over 9 all over 45 minus 7, that is 38 over 3, right? So now I have this part here now. What happens there? Let me try to work here. I'm squeezing things now. It's like saying 19 over 9 divided by 38 over 3. What happens when you're dividing fractions? You turn the division into a multiplication. Then here you have a 3, and here you have a 38. All set? Now, what happens here is that you simplify. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then from there, you have 19 multiplied by 1, which is 19. And then you have 38 multiplied by 3, which is 144. All set. Now, is there a way we can simplify this? No. 19 is a prime number, so there is no simplifying this. So this is the final answer. This is your final answer. Hope that does it. Oops. Yeah, I hope that does it. I hope there are no mistakes. So now, moving on to the next one What do we have there? Let me underline here so that I can write my solutions properly. If you don't understand anything here, guys, please revisit the channel. It has a lot of explanations for these things we are doing. Let's start with this first one. I have 3 raised to x is equals to 1 over 81. The first step there is to rewrite 81 now in exponential form. So which means now here I have 1 over what is 81 in exponential form. That is the same as 3 raised to 4. Do that. Right? So we did that. Now the next step is what? Is to remove this from a fraction form to be only in exponential form. Now, which means I have to send this denominator upwards. It's going to be 3 raised to negative 4, right? Now that the bases are the same, I'll drop the bases and focus on the exponents, and my x is equals to negative 4. All set. Let me erase that now. I hope you're fine there. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is interesting, and I know that if most of you got this one on a test, you were going to shake. minus 2. The 2 is not in the root. Please bear in mind, the root ends here at k. This is equals to 0. Now, what is the first thing? What is the first thing you're supposed to do there? The first thing you're supposed to do is to give us restrictions. What is your restriction? Remember, we did this in the previous videos in the series of grade 10 equations. The series is there in the playlist. It explains everything about equations. Please make sure you visit the video there. So my restriction says this denominator is not supposed to be 0. So the only way this denominator can be 0, it's only if my k is equals to 4. Because if my k is equals to 4, I'll have the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So my k is not supposed to be 4. You start with the restriction and you write the restrictions down in your question paper. So then you move forward from there. What can we do? I have k minus 4. So for those who are able to see this, this is a perfect square. Well, how is k a perfect square? So because 4, we understand that it's a perfect square, but how is k a perfect square? Well, k is formed by you multiplying root k with root k, right? Yes. I hope you know this rule by far, that when you multiply root k with root k, the root falls off, you are left with just k. I hope you get that. Why is this and this giving you k? Because according to exponential laws, you'll put this inside brackets, which is k multiplied by k, and that is the square root of k squared. What is the square root of k squared? That is k. Make sense? Yes. So now, when you multiply k with k, you get, when you multiply root k with root k, you get k. So which means k is a perfect square. Tricky, isn't it? It is. So two numbers that you multiply together, or two values you multiply together to get k, is root k and root k. So which means k is a perfect square. Now we can move on to factorizing now. I'll open two brackets because obviously this is difference of two squares. And then here I have root k minus 2. Because it's difference of two squares, I have a plus and a minus. And then here I have root k, and here I have root k as factors of k. And then factors of 4, I have 2 and 2. And then whenever I have a binomial, I want to put that in brackets before I do anything. And after I see that this bracket is the same as this one, then I can cancel them out. And this is an equation, not an expression. So don't just write the left side and forget the right side that says it's equals to 0. So now there I'm left with what? I'm left with k root k plus 2, it's equals to 0, right? And then we solve further. What happens? You are left with root k, it's equals to negative 2. How do you remove the root from the k? You will square this side and square that side, which means now you are left with k. When you have negative 2 squared, it's equals to 4. Now, what did we say? Our restrictions say now k is not supposed to be 4. Therefore, which means this is not the solution. You cancel the equal sign. So since anyway this was the only equation, this was the only answer we had, k didn't have two solutions, you're going to say therefore k has no solutions. Easy as that. You not finding an answer, it's the answer we are looking for. You are just supposed to show us that in your pursuit to find the answer, you got no answer. Does that make sense? Yes. In maths, not having an answer, it's an answer. You just have to write it down that this does not have an answer, showing the steps. That's how it is, guys. Let's remove this and create space for the new question. Okay, I removed that. What's next? Oh, that was the last question. Oh, let's move on. So the last question now is simultaneous equations. Obviously we don't have to write it down for you in words, that simultaneous equation. You have to see it that when they say solve for x and y, When you're solving for two variables, it's obviously simultaneous equations, plus you even have two equations. So our first step here is to identify equation number 1. So boom, 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 boom. This is our equation 1. Boom, boom, boom. This is our equation 2. Go back to the previous videos to see how you can solve simultaneous equation videos. And then I'm going to take this and form my equation 3. So x is equals to 8 plus 2y. This is my equation 3. All set. And then now I move to the next steps now. Let's underline that. So I'm going to say substitute equation 3 into an equation I haven't used yet, which is equation 1. And then I write down equation 1. What is equation 1? My equation 1 is 3x plus 6y is equals to 27. Boom, boom, boom. This is my equation 1. You always have to write it down. And then you focus on what you have. Our equation 3 showed us the value for x. So which means now, on this step, wherever where I see x, I can substitute with that value there. So then I have 8 plus 2y plus 6y, that is equals to 27. And then I continue solving, distribute this into that. 3 times 8, that is 24. 3 times 2y, that is positive 6y, plus 6y is equals to 27. Hope it's fair, hope it's fine. So these two are like terms, so which means I have 24 plus 12y is equals to 27. And then I continue solving this to the other side. I end up having 12y is equals to 27 minus 24. What do I get there? I get 12y is equals to 3. Then I divide both sides by 12. This cancels that. I'm left with y being equals to 3 over 12. Now simplify 3 over 12 for me. Well, this is the same as 1 over 4. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to write my y value here. Y is equals to 1 over 4, and then I'll provide space for the next part of solving this equation. Simultaneous equations, they have a lot of steps, guys. They don't really have a lot of marks, but they actually have a lot of steps. That shouldn't be a problem. As long as you understand the concepts, you will win. Hope that's fair, guys. I should have paused and erased here. Okay, here we go. Yes. So the next step is what? I'm supposed to substitute now my y value into equation 3. So since I spoke about equation 3, I have to write down equation 3 there. And then identify that as equation 3. Remember, all these steps are necessary, guys. And then from there, because I have my y value, wherever where I see y, I'll substitute with that. So now x is equals to 8 plus 2 into how much is y? It's 1 over 4. Then x is equals to 8 plus 2 times 1 over 4, it's 2 over 4. Therefore, my x is equals to 8 plus, what is 2 over 4 in a simplified form? It's 1 over 2. Now, what is 8 plus half? It's 8.5. So 8 and 1 over 2. Easy as that. So this marks the end of the video that I wanted to create, guys. So I actually did that under 30 minutes, so I'm happy about that. So I gave my kids this worksheet in class, so I hope that this video now helps you guys to check yourselves whether your answers are correct against my answers, and if ever I made a mistake, I apologize for that, guys. I'm doing everything in a rush. I have to edit this video with the 15 minutes that I have left and post it on YouTube so that you can get it. So thank you for watching the video. Talk to you soon.